Welcome, friends, to the animation experience at Conservation Station. Since the 1930s, Disney animators have put their pencils to paper in service of the idea that the greatest inspiration often comes from the magic of nature. Walt Disney himself understood the importance of spending time around animals, studying their behavior and personalities in order to create realistic characters and dynamic storylines. This meeting of the human and animal worlds sparked a legacy of storytelling that has shaped our relationship with animals and conservation forever. Today, we invite you to become a part of that legacy as our own Disney artists help you learn to sketch characters inspired by the very animals found here at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Get your pencils ready, because here comes our animation artist now.
Good afternoon, everybody. How's everybody doing? You guys having fun? I mean, it's the Walt Disney World, right? You're supposed to be having fun. I mean, it's not the Universal. Come on! Oh, come on. Now, Universal spelled backwards is lost revenue. I can say that. I used to work there. Oh, yeah. The repressed memories are coming back. Okay, anyway, folks, we are going to be drawing Bambi from the 1942 film Bambi. We are going to be drawing the little prince, and we are doing that because we are drawing a lot of babies right now, or at least for a little bit while, a little longer. And we have a lot of babies here in the park. So if you get a chance, check out some of our kids, our little ones, the little ones that are out there. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a little bit of inspiration. Since we don't actually have like white-tailed deer here on exhibit. No, we don't. I mean, we do have deer like all around the zoo, though. Be careful driving. I'll tell you what, I'm going to inspire you a little bit differently. I'm going to go ahead and just show you baby animals. How about that? Go ahead, take a look at the screens for your inspiration.
Cubs, kits, or calves, no matter what you call them, you just can't help but be drawn to babies. It's like they have you under a magical spell. But what is it about them? Well, we're drawn to some babies just because of their small size. Like, look at this baby hippo. It's like a miniature version of the grown-up size, but a baby hippo is born at about 60 pounds, and mom, well, she weighs in at about 3,000 pounds. Adorable. And then there's this irresistibly fluffy little flamingo chick standing there under the towering legs of the adults, covered with gray, downy feathers. They don't get pink until they're about 2 or 3 years old. And believe it or not, babies have cute down to a science. That's right. Scientists have recognized that babies of many different species share similar features that trigger a cute response in humans. At 200 pounds, a baby elephant might not be small to us, but it's very small for an elephant. And super cute, which is good because a baby elephant will be dependent on its mom for 3 to 5 years. And then there are those who, well, let's just say take a less traditional approach to cute. Okay, they might not be cute at all. There, I said, but they're no less valuable, they're no less precious, but let's just move on. So what does make a baby cute? The key to cute is all about proportions, like big round eyes and an itty-bitty face, a short snout and long wobbly limbs. And they do all sorts of cute baby stuff like playing and being clumsy while they're playing. But through our eyes, every baby is adorable. They all get the same investment in care and attention, and we work hard to preserve the magic of nature so that all this cuteness can thrive for decades to come. So be sure to scout around our parks and resorts to catch a peek of our newest arrivals. Remember, we warned you about being drawn in by their magical spell.
Go ahead, get it out of your system. Just as a reminder, folks, as I look around the crowd, I must be able to see all your smiling face masks. All right, so if you are not wearing your face mask right now, you're wrong. All right? You did sign for it. I'm sorry. Okay. Got to read those terms real quick, okay? All right, we're going to start with some eye patches around the eye, okay? So we're going to start at the bottom of our circle. And it's going to go up to that second line right there. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a nice wide oval. And I'm just going to kind of come up, just a nice little sketch of an oval, kind of an egg shape. I'm just going to start with that. And it's kind of, you could go underneath if you really want to, not necessary. Not necessary. but because we're going to stop right there. So I'm going to go ahead and make a nice wide egg shape right there. You notice I'm doing very sketchy, very dirty. But I'm also doing it lightly. And what I mean by lightly, I mean when I come over it, all that goes to the background. And what I'm doing is I'm finding the lines I like and letting the ones I don't like just kind of go into the background. That's why we don't draw with erasers. Mainly because erasers don't make a very good mark. So we got to go ahead and use these. Now before I go ahead any further, I'm going to go ahead and close that off with a nice little hill. Nice little cheek right there. And the reason we put this eye patch in here is to give him something that deer don't have. Eyebrows. So we're going to go ahead and kind of thicken this line up here. Don't worry, these are not real eyebrows. They do not have to be on fleek. Just kind of color it in. A little eyebrow pencil right now. There we go. We're going to make another little leg shape. It's going to go up to this line right here. But it's going to start right about down here with the first one starting. We'll come around, make a nice wide egg shape. If you haven't guessed, this will be his eye. If you have guessed, it's still going to be his eye. So you're right. Don't worry about it being too big. That's the cute part. We are going to make an eyelash or an eyelid on him. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down just a little bit from this line. I'm going to come across. And I'm going to come back down. Make that eyelid right there. And we're going to make this into eyelashes. I'm going to go ahead and bring this out. Don't worry about crossing over the eye patch. I'm going to put another little one in here. Then I'm going to thicken it up, put a little mascara on this buck. Now, baby deer, of course, is called a fawn. Everybody knows that. A male deer is called a buck. And a female deer, you're all singing that song in your head, aren't you? Yeah. All right. A female deer. There you go. Did you know that rabbits are the same? A male is a buck and a female is a doe? Yeah. All right. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the eye in there. And that eye is going to be right on the side. He's going to be looking off to our right here. So it's going to just be a nice little roundish. You don't have to draw a perfect circle or anything like that. We did that for you. This thing right here. You're welcome. Because we're going to do that again. We're going to do another one right here. Right inside it, kind of parallel to the first one, for that black pupil. You guys did all that. Don't worry about that. We're going to shade that in. I do want to put one little thing right here. A little kickstand. That's going to be a little tear duct right there. If you ever watched Bambi, you'd see that he actually does have that a lot more than Thumper does. Thumper does have it once in a while, but normally close-ups, things like that. Since we're doing a close-up, we're going to go ahead and do that. All right, I want to go ahead and shade this in, but before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and take a little chunk out of there. A little oval chunk. I'm going to color around that so that I have a little gleam in his eye. Bambi loves life. He doesn't see any danger until his mother points it out to him. By the way, if anybody is worried about his mother, she's fine. She's a very good actress. After the movie, she did appear with Bambi in a 1955 cartoon with Donald Duck. So she's fine. She's just a very good actress. No poachers got her, I promise. But it made you think, didn't it? I told you, she's a good actress. All right, so we've got the eye in there. We got to put another eye in here, but the thing about their eyes is they're on the side of their head. They can see about 300 degrees around them. They got about 60-degree variance behind their head. All they got to do is do this, and they can see. So it's just shake the head a little bit. So in order to do that, we're going to take a little bit off of this circle over here. I'm going to come all the way up. You see that little line that's way up there? This one way up here? I'm going to kind of follow an imaginary line down and kind of hit my circle right there. And then I'm going to go ahead and come back down so you can see what I'm doing. Once I have that line right there, I'm just going to kind of start shaving off a little crescent. I'm going to follow this midline in this first section. It's going to be pretty close. And then I'm going to get a little bit narrower as I go down until I come out of the circle right about here. I'm going to bring it down into that little line here. That'll be his snout eventually. But we need to have the side of his head, or at least the side that we're going to see, because he's not completely round-headed. His name's not Mickey. So we've got that in there. We're going to put the other eye in. We're actually going to put the eye patch in. What we're going to do is a little triangle, a little rounded off triangle, a little hill kind of on its side, coming just outside of the circle and coming back up. So we have that nice little brow bone right there. Just from one intersection to the other intersection. And how do I know that's his eye? Because right here is an eyelash, right on that line. And you thought the second eye would be harder. How's everybody doing right now? Because right now he's just eyes without a face. And I know you want more, more, more. I'm just dancing with myself, aren't I? Okay, enough idle chatter. Let's get to the nose. We're going to come in here and we're going to put some parallel lines in here. Kind of cube, make it a little bit of a cube. Very lightly I put that in there. So I'm making a little bit of a box down here. Can you see what I'm doing? I can make it a little bit more. Make it a little bit more just so you can see it. I don't want to darken it up yet because what I'm going to do is I'm going to round it off. So I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to round it down to about the bottom of that line right there. I'm going to round it out on the outside a little bit. I'm going to come back in. See how it's working? It's starting to look like a seat, a head cushion on your car. We're going to come back in. But we're not going to close it off like a box. What we're going to do is we're just going to kind of make it a nice little angle right here. Now what about this line that's sitting in the middle there? Well, I'm going to use that line. I'm actually going to come down, I'm going to curve that line up. Bring it down to the front. I'm going to separate it into three parts. So I'm going to come up here. Come in with that. And then one little more, kind of like we have a little Eiffel Tower on its side right here. And then what I'm going to do is just shade it all in, except for the Eiffel Tower. I'm going to leave a little shine to his nose. He doesn't have time to go powder his nose. We have a little shine there. Make it a little thinner. There we go. Now that we got that, we're going to put a little cheek to him. What we're going to do is come off from this. Not quite flat, but we're going to come down just a very, very tiny angle. We're going to come in and do a nice little S curve right there, just to go under the eye. It'll just be the beginning of that eyeball there. We can make the top part of his muzzle by a very flat little smile curve right here. We're going to just kind of make a nice shallow smile curve, coming just around the nose. And at the end, we're just going to hook it right up to the end of it. Everybody got that so far? Are we good?
No.
I can tell by the concentration you guys are ready to go on.
No.
All right, we're going to go ahead. We're going to do the bottom of his mouth. And we're going to kind of go just down from here, about a quarter of an inch maybe. We're going to come down really lightly, come down to this line, and we're going to bounce off. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but I can tell that you're serious. Okay, and I'm going to bounce off of there, and I'm going to turn around. And when I get down below that line, I'm going to kind of finish it off. So I have kind of a little tongue right there. It's not going to be a tongue for long. I did it light for a reason, by the way. I'm going to go ahead and do the inside, which is basically coming down from that dimple. We're going to follow that around. It's going to be a little thinner on the other side there. We have his mouth open now. And if his mouth is open, we can see his tongue, and we'll make it real easy. We'll put a little sunset in there. Just barely touching the top of his mouth. The reason I made this light is because I'm going to continue that line around. So this here, I'm going to go ahead and darken that in. And then I'm going to start light again. I'm going to come around, make a nice round cheek right here. Coming around. Coming back in, around where those eyelashes are, where they're kind of pointing to. And once I have a nice roundness to it, I can darken that in too. Now, from here, I'm going to put a little bit of hair on the back of his head. Now, try and keep it somewhat roundish. He's a deer, not a porcupine. All right? So what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of go up and back. Just like that. And come up and back. And one more time. Up and not quite back to the circle. Just a little bit of hair on the back of his head. Now the fun part. See this line way up here? We're going to go from there to there, but we're going to take the roundabout way to get there. We're going to start on his ear. You guys ready for this? I know you are. We're going to come kind of parallel to this line right here. But it's going to turn a little to the left. See how it's kind of doing that nice little, not hourglass, but kind of a nuclear cooling tower look there, okay? We're going to come out, and when we get just underneath that line, we'll start turning up. For what? We'll come just outside of our line there, back to about the middle. We're going to flatten that curve, because that's what we're trying to do, is flatten the curve. So we're going to come out a little bit, kind of like we did over here. You see how this comes out a little bit? This is steeper, this is not. So a little bit shallow on this side. And then we're going to make a nice bombing run right down into this line right here. And come straight down into it. And we're going to try and get kind of a spoon shape in there. I'm actually going to bounce off that line into the circle so I can hook it in there. Now, if you can't get the spoon shape, don't say fork it. You're fine. I was listening to these folks over here. I had to say something. Now, this is just the shape of the ear. This is just the shape of the ear. And we're going to attach it to our head right here about the middle of this section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little S curve again. I'm going to come in and back into the head. Just kind of attach it right into the head. It's going to kind of look like it's going to this little line right there. Now we have to, the inside of the ear has to be done. So what I'm going to do is do another little S curve. Coming from right about in here, I'm going to come down, put the little bump right there into that line. So I have the inside of the ear now. I have the outside of the ear. We need a little bit of fluff in the inside. Those are just going to be S curves too. Coming out, get a little thick. Thinning out. Just above to where we attach the ear. On the other side, about halfway up, do that same thing. It's going to get a little thick, and then come down and get thin. One more thing will make this ear look like a white-tailed deer ear. A white-tailed deer does have a white tail, but also has a black tip on his ear. So we're going to go ahead and put a nice little arc up and over to the other side. So it's going to be lower on the left than it is on the right. And all of this is just going to be shaded in. If you're catching up, don't worry about shading in. That's stuff you can remember and go, what? Well, okay, I know. Oh yeah, I got to shade this in. I got that. Before we get to the other stuff, let's go ahead and do some color changes real quick. We're going to come off of this eyebrow. We're going to curve around. We're going to kind of give him some bangs here. It's a color change. The top of his head is actually a darker brown than the rest of him. Or at least the rest of his face. Just going to kind of come up in here. Kind of look like it's going up into our head there. There's another one just down below that line. It's going to come up right past our connection of the ear. then a little itty bitty one right here, a little parenthesis right here at the dimple, down to the jaw. Wanted to do that before we went up to that line. Oops, there goes my paper. You are Bambi, not Dumbo. Right, Mike? Okay. We're going to give him a little bit of a hairstyle. So I'm going to kind of start just about on the ear. I'm going to come straight up. Kind of curve it a little bit. And come up and do another one. Remember, try and keep it less pointy. We want him to look like we can hug Bambi, not, get hepatitis from him or tetanus. We don't want that. All right. I was going to say tetanus, and the other one came out, so I apologize. And then we're gonna let gravity kind of take it a little bit, bring it out. Like, where did that one come from? Okay, I'm blaming these ladies over here. That's what I'm doing. And then I'm gonna go ahead. We want to go ahead and close the head off so no rain gets in, because he's a whitetail, not a reindeer. So we're gonna go ahead and come in. That one fell flat. Okay. Folks, this is where old jokes from the Jungle Cruise go to die. I'm just letting you know right now. They don't get better. This is not a show. This is a sketch class. So if you're entertained, it is strictly by accident. Now, you remember this nice little line that's way up here that we used before? We're going to use it again. We're going to come, somewhere right about in the middle of the head here. We're going to come up with a nice little curve toward the right. Notice I'm not heading toward the line. It's because I'm going to pick it up just behind that line and bring it up toward the left. Now when I turn this nice little hook here, it's going to come right down to the middle of the forehead there. Nice little curve down. See, even the second ear is easier than the first ear. And of course, he's a whitetail. He has a little black tip. So this time, the left-hand side is going to be higher than the right-hand side. This is going to be a little crescent that you put up there. Now, right now, I'm going to pull out, and you see what? A floating baby head, which is kind of creepy. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down here. Remember all this hair that we did back here? We're going to come off of that hair. We're going to put a nice little curved line there. Just under about the middle of the eye, I'm going to come down and we're going to put another little curved line going the other way. So now he has a neck. But he also has a color change on his neck. So I'm going to come right about the edge of my eye here and put another little curved line in there. How's everybody feeling? I hope you're doing pretty good, because we just drew a deer. Yes? You're doing good, right? How many people have drawn Bambi before today? Exactly. Yeah? So if anything kind of even resembles a deer on your page, you did real good. All right? It took Disney animators a year of studying animals before they even started on Bambi. And if you look over to the right-hand side of our classroom, I guess I'll call it, you'll see Retta Scott and Mary Blair over there with a little alligator. Retta Scott was our first female animator, and her work was on Bambi. She used to sketch animals in zoos, actually. So if only there was a place around here like that you could sketch animals. Tell you what, on the back of your paper, you will find that we printed out a blank sheet of paper. And you get to keep those pencils. So if you happen to run across a zoo and want to sketch some animals, now you're prepared. Mary Blair did a lot of character design for like Cinderella and Peter Pan and Alice in Wonderland. She even designed It's a Small World. Now for those of you who have that song in your head now, blame the Sherman Brothers, not Mary Blair. In the center are two of the 9 old men. 9 old men meaning like the Supreme Court back then. They were about 20s, 30s when they first started off as the 9 old men. But Walt wanted to have someone who made final decisions about how animation was going to be done. As a matter of fact, those two up there, Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnston, literally wrote the book on animation. It's called The Illusion of Life. It goes over the 12 principles of animation and has a lot of great Disney art in it if you ever come across it. Check on Amazon. Sometimes you can get some deals. I think it goes for $60, but I think you might be able to get it for 45 here and there. Great, like 570 some pages in there. Now there's one other gentleman over there, and he's drawing on a board just like yours. Well, pretty close anyway. And he's drawing some deer, which means that picture was taken over 80 years ago when they were working on a little film called Bambi. That's Walt Disney. You are doing what the founder of this company has done. And you're actually drawing what came out of those sessions, which makes you part of the Disney animation legacy. Congratulations. But nobody's going to know unless you sign that masterpiece. Yes, you must sign your masterpiece. We've got to find who to blame. I signed mine, you've got to sign yours now. And if you want to know what day you became an honorary unpaid intern here at Disney, today is September the 7th, 2021. Now in just a little while, you're going to hear the voiceover, and you're going to be exiting to the left of our theater, where that exit sign actually is. All those animals are watching you. Always watching. The only thing we want back from you are the boards. The boards are going to go on the back of your chair like you found them. So another set of artists can have the same experience. Now the pencils, like I said, are yours. If we have any little ink and painters out there doing some color theory, crayons are yours as well. Those papers, of course, are yours. Make sure they get hung up somewhere. A gallery, your wall, your refrigerator, Home Depot or Lowe's refrigerator, somewhere. Show everybody that you did it. Once again, it was great to see all your smiling face masks. That was just a reminder in case she forgot. I won't call her out on the microphone. She's very pretty though. So everybody, orderly, through the exit, to your left, out into the world, go sketch some animals, and until next time, we'll see you real soon. Bye everybody.
Thank you all for joining us in the animation experience at Conservation Station. Please gather your personal belongings before exiting, and remember to take your artwork with you. We hope you enjoy the rest of your visit at Rafiki's Planet Lodge and the rest of your adventure here at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Goodbye.